Can you hear me now? Oh, you know what it might be? It might be my phone. It might be. Sometimes my phone attaches itself to the lot, to this thing. Make sure. I think that might be it. All right, can you hear me now? Oh, I don't know where they're at. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, good. It might have been my phone. Okay, so let's get that. So we're talking about, I was talking about about Harvard. Okay, so we're in Harvard, right? We're looking at Harvard. Thanks for sticking with me. Harvard, there's no way. So when we're taught that Harvard starts in 1636, and we know that the Pequot Wars are going on. Come on now. The Pequot Wars are not in Cambridge, but we're in that Massachusetts area, right? We're in that state. That you're with they're the same settlers. They're the Puritans. They're going through the turmoil. Okay, you're not going to start up a university, a college, in the midst of financial and daggone safety issues. Okay, so the fact that they lie and say that Harvard was started in 1636, come on, that's a mind trick, man. Who are you playing with? Why are you taking credit for Harvard starting in 1636? You know that's a damn lie. And if you actually needle down on it and dig down and find out or ask AI about it, they're going to say that the university, it was a church. It was a clergy. It was a couple of clergy training in a house. Clergy training in a house does not constitute the beginning of Harvard University. That is a gross exaggeration. That is a gross exaggeration. But that's the thing. When you actually look at this, now look at this list. Let's get with this list. I'm gonna go deep on the list because this is the thing. This trips me. I don't know if y'all get or feel that way. But this is the thing about this list. This list is the colonial colleges, right? It's about 20 or 19 of them, something like that. All right. And it stops at like 1770 or so, right? Beyond that, you may have a few more when you get to the 1800s, 1866. But think about this, y'all. If you count to 1866, all the pale-face colleges and line them up against all the HBCUs. And let me tell you, when we go back to this HBCU, let's go back to the HBCU tab. Let's go back to the HBCU. Because the HBCU said, what did they say? They started in 1837, and they said it was an institute for colored youth. So that wasn't just three daggone, two freaking clergymen in a house. That was actually a training center and Indian removal school. Okay, an Indian removal school, right? Like they had the Lost Generation in Australia. Our Lost Generation started way in daggone 1837. When they took youth away and they said, this is what you are, this is what you're not. This is the true history that we want you to know. Retraining the youth, making them lose their culture, lose your sense of the fact that you have this country laid out and that it's still yours. You don't even know that the country's still yours. Because why? Because they put you in a classroom and tell you different. And they've been doing that to us for 200 years, putting us in classrooms and telling us different than what is actually going on. Is this making sense? Is this going somewhere? You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So we got this. It's going. So we got this. We know that Cheney State, we got from, okay, so let's dig on down more into this whole all this list. Okay, so this list, I stopped looking at this list in 1866. Why? Because that's when they say that the Civil War stopped, right? They say that the Civil War, let's go ahead, actually ended in August 1866. Y'all see that? Get out of here. Oh man, y'all just messing with my life. What is this? Terms of service. I don't want your terms. I'm just trying to read this. Okay, stop it. It actually ended in 1866. So if we look at the list of our HBCUs, I stopped looking in 1866, which put me at the high number of 15 HBCUs. Okay, mind you, this is 1866. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, at least 9. 9 HBCUs were started during the Civil War. During the Civil War? That was supposed to be freeing us? Okay, pause. Think about it. Let's go back. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say 8. 8 or 9. 9. 9 HBCUs. You could say 8. 8 or 9, whichever one you want. Does that make sense that while you are in deep war trying to free these helpless, broke, ignorant, uneducated slaves, there are 9 HBCUs being done? And most of these, look, Atlanta, right in the middle of everything going on. Why do people not ever think about Clark, Atlanta, Virginia Union? All these southern universities, Alabama, being done. That's a little bit later than my 67 rule right there. Tennessee. How are we not? North Carolina. How are we not looking at this? How this alone makes you think, well, wait a minute, what was the Civil War if all these daggone HBCUs is jumping off? And it's not a little room house of clergymen meeting. These are schools. They clearly say schools, private, public, whatever. These are Indian removal education schools. This is to indoctrinate the Indians. Okay, whatever the purpose is, that's what they are. They are existing. Okay. All right. So why am I saying all this? Why am I into this? I'm into this because I'm trying to let you know that we already had it going on. We've always had it going on. We've always had our country up until the last 50 years. That's when we lost it. When we decided to let go of everything and go for whatever they handed us. That's when we lost everything that we had, because we had an entire country intact pretty much. Let me illustrate it to you in another way. Okay. Now, I'm a nurse, so in nursing, they talk about Florence Nightingale being the mother of nursing. Now, Florence ain't even American, but they teach Florence as if she's an American. She's not. She never stepped foot in the US of A. Why does the US of A use her as the beacon of what a nurse is, when in America we never had a plague until this fake whatever We didn't have pestilence and disease like they had in England. We didn't have an issue with not knowing how to wash ourselves or wash our hands. We knew about germ therapy as the indigenous people. So the people that came into our country had to comply with what we know. But nobody gives us credit for that. Yet they're jumping over to across the daggone pond to Florence Nightingale, who was by this rendition, born of a very well-connected, wealthy British family. Now, wealthy, she was born in Tuscany, Italy. She traveled around. She was named after her place of birth. She was born in Greece, and this now the city of Naples. She has a very diverse, well-traveled, very well-off lifestyle. People like this didn't wash their own clothes or wash their own butts or clean their own houses. So how was it that she was able to offer to nursing the fact that they need to clean and tidy and, asepsis and all this? What does she know about that? Being a well-kept, pampered, spoiled person who didn't have to wash or clean anything or even daggone care for anyone. So this is the thing. She wrote about what she learned about, and they take credit for what others do. Now, the thing about Florence Nightingale, she went to the Crimean War, right? Her famous contribution. Who else was there? Oh, well, just a little lady called Mary Seacole. Mary Seacole is a Jamaican indigenous woman, a British nurse, a businesswoman, older than Florence Nightingale. Born in Kingston, she was called a herbalist and a doctoress. You know this lady clean. She knew about germs. She knew about herbal remedies. Okay? Who? She came into the Crimean War with a plan for setting up the British Hotel as a mess table and a comfortable quarters for sick. She's the one that did all the work. They were there at the same time. They saying she didn't get there till 1855. I guarantee she was there before that. Because that's what they do. They lie. They try to lie. This woman was older. You think she wasn't there before? She'd been a nurse longer. She got there before damn Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale was flitting around Europe and then popped. Then they say she popped into the Crimean War. Give me a damn break. And see how they highlight that, and the thing for what you call her Crimean War. They just work it into the daggone narrative from Mary Seacole. They still talking about Jamaica, but they don't talk about her contribution to the war at all, hardly, right? But Florence Nightingale, conversely, and then they lying about her education. She was never Florence Nightingale. Sorry, Florence Nightingale was never formally educated, and yet she's the daggone godmother of nursing, the beacon of light of nursing. Are you kidding me? She was a daggone socialite. She was a socialite. They added without any notation of proof of what her education was, that it was on like the end of her vacation. She daggone got some training for 4 months. That's a lie. Because I've been reading about her like my whole damn career, and they didn't have no education for her. She was on the job trained, if anything, at the Crimean War. She learned probably under the guise of Mary Seacole. But now they're erasing all that, acting like she was actually got some damn education somewhere for 4 months. They wrote that in here. All right, so this is the thing. You got to understand where we were at, how we really was living. Okay, Mary Seacole was in the Crimean War. She ain't getting credit for it. Why ain't she credit for the mother of nurses? She older. She did more. She established all this whole system of daggone treating the patients. But see, this one wrote about it. She wrote about it. She wrote about what she stole from other people. Right? In America, did we not have people that was there going taking care of folks? Hell yeah. We had Rebecca Crumpler. She's only 10 years younger than daggone Florence Nightingale. She was born in Delaware, Eastern Shore. She actually was educated in nursing school, but this report doesn't say it. But she was actually educated, I believe, in Maryland, and then she was educated as a doctor. She's actually one of the first woman recorded doctor of medicine. But they talk about her being a doctor of medicine, and she wrote a book, Discourse of the Book of Medical Discourses, a 2-volume set. But yet we don't hardly hear about her. Her mother, her auntie, who lived in Pennsylvania, was a natural healer and a doctress, and she taught her what she knew. That's what's her motivation and training. Part of her motivation and training came for her being around her aunt in Pennsylvania. But we don't hear about this sister. They ain't even got a fake image of her. They ain't got Arthur Crumley. They got her husband. That's weird. Well, they got a picture of her husband, Arthur. Formerly enslaved. That's what they always, formerly enslaved. Escaped bondage in Southampton. Escaped bondage. He was enslaved by Benjamin Crumpler. Oh yeah, like the slave man gave everybody their names. That whole stuff. Those all lies. We have to start like calling these people out. This is the year of no tolerance of lies, no tolerance of these things. Okay, but this is the focus I want to get you with this whole syndrome of we have our first nurse, and she's not the first. You know that, right? We have been successfully managing disease and curing people and naturally curing people for millenniums, right? Yet we're giving credit to somebody across the pond. And let me also explain to y'all that nursing, but the reason they love Florence Nightingale so much is because before her, nurses in Europe were considered whores. They were considered straight up, and I'm not kidding, whores, prostitutes, like seriously. And she's the one that is credited with giving some professionalism and lack of whorism to nursing. That's why they revere her. Because before her in England, they was nasty, dirty, dying, and nurses were whores. That's how backwards they were. So there's that. Meanwhile, we got a sister who she just jumps right over, becomes a nurse and jumps and becomes a doctor at the same time, a peer of Florence Nightingale, but she's totally eclipsed in America because she is us. We've been winning. We have had this has been our country this whole time. We just lost it. We just lost it. So then I was looking at hospitals. And I always talk about this with you. Anybody knows me knows I always talk about hospitals. And what did I do? Let's think. There's a list of traffic. Okay, no. Yeah. The color of pain. Okay. Okay, so we lost all these different hospitals in the 1890s. We had like 200 hospitals at the turn of the century. Detroit alone had 18 black-owned hospitals, they say in this article. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you know what? I haven't been showing y'all I didn't show you Mary Seco. Here's Mary Seco. Mary Seco is the one I was telling you about that actually was the doctress, herbologist, Creole woman. I don't think I shared that tab. So I want to show that to you, make sure y'all see. Mary Seco was in she was in the Crimean War. She was there, but they don't really talk about it. They just talk about being Jamaican, and other stuff that only a little brown. Ew, they're talking about her being color struck and stuff. I don't even know. Just a bunch of nonsense. Not the things that are important. Her contribution is what is important. Then you got Florence Nightingale. They highlighting her, going to the Crimean War, like she was doing some big stuff. Queen of Victoria gave her a medal and stuff. Why didn't she give Mary Seacole one? Heck, she might have gave Mary Seacole one, but they just ain't talking about it. That's the thing. She probably got one. She might have got one. And then Rebecca Cumbler. There's no picture of Rebecca Cumbler. Like I said, she was born Rebecca Davis. She married a Crumpler, so she's a Davis. Davis, Carrie Davis, Davis. A lot of y'all are Davises. That's your kinfolk. She married this dude that's a Crumpler. The weird picture. Okay, the picture, the odd thing that we have a picture of him and no picture of her, right? That's weird. Okay. So, yeah, Rebecca Crumpler really and not our first professional nurse. We have, a lot of professional nurses. They just erase it. Why? Because it's us. When we're the first, we don't get counted. So you can't even what? That's why we think we had to go be with them, because we didn't have any knowledge of self. They erased it, and they keep erasing it. Now they're calling everything African American, and it's further erasing us from the picture. You get this? All right. So I was talking about hospitals and how they freaking erase. We had so many at the turn of the century. Now we have hardly any. Okay, that whole thing, the erasure of our hospitals. Let me see, what was I doing? I thought I had that. Yeah. Detroit had 17 so-called black-owned hospitals. How do we have everything and lose all? And then you get these Africans to come over here and act like, oh, white tea got everything. You don't have anything. You don't understand that we just lost this shit. We just lost it recently. We had a whole intact country of our own that we protected. But because we didn't know what we had, and we allowed other people to educate our youth, we lost what we had because we didn't value it. We didn't acknowledge it. We didn't protect it. Protect it is what we didn't do. We didn't protect it. And we have to protect what we've got. We have to protect what we've got. So, anyway, let's go to this other thing. The thing that really motivated me to do this live is this, and let me get to it real quick. I don't want to keep y'all much longer, but I was looking at, I don't even know why. This came on my time on my, just on, how you watching videos and stuff. And I was watching, I was just watching videos, watching videos and stuff. And this came on my, I think this or something came on my timeline. Let me put this on there. So a fool and his money. Like, people, y'all. Are y'all seeing this? Make sure you can see it. Let me make sure I fix it up. You see how these people are living. This is 1912, y'all. And guess what? They actually lie about the date. started asking AI about this movie, they were like, "Oh, it's 1906." 1906? When they start making movies? Then I asked AI, okay, so a lot of them, if you go and Google it tells you a different date, a more recent date than what actually if you ask ChatGPT what you go and research it. It says 1906. That's good. But look at this high quality, well done movie with us. But conversely, y'all, hold on. Let me get back to this. Look at this. Okay. So we're gonna go to this. Heck, this might be an Australian film. This might not even be American. Cause see, some of the films that American, like if you look at films, they take credit for it like it's a US film, but a lot of these are actually from like Australia and different places. So it's not even a US film. So actually there's very few. What my point is that there's very few movies that actually come from the US in the early 1900s that's worth it. That's anything. Like it's weird. We actually have more credible, decent films in the early 1907s, 05s, 012s. I'm sorry, 012s, 1912s than the pale faces. And that is confusing me. How about you? Yeah, this one is not even American. See, it's Melbourne. So this one is not even an American movie. So we can't even count this one on our list. This is not a US. This is an Australian. So this don't even count. So I need to cross this off the list. This don't count. That don't count. And it's not even American. The world. So let's go. Let me see if I can find another one. Well, Birth of a Nation. Okay. Let's look at this. Uncle Tom's Cabin. They did a movie. One of the oldest things that you will see. Let me go ahead and put this up. Oldest thing you will see. 1903 is Uncle Tom's Cabin. They actually had some of us acting. Some of them had blackface. Some of them was actually us, right? Acting. Yeah, this is not nowhere near as well done as the movie we just saw with us in it and us acting all in it. The quality of it is nowhere near that. But this is the earliest one. So let me tell you, it's funny. If at the beginning of the country, in the beginning of cinema, most good cinema or most of the cinema at all in this country was us. Weird, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so here's a great train robbery. I think that is America. Let me see. Great train robbery, I think, is America. That's 1903. So that would be an example of an early. Look what they're depicting for them and what they depicted for us. What were we were sitting up there chilling, having dinner. Okay, so this is so okay. So I'm just letting early film and how it relates to what was really going on, how equal, how it was, how we had a whole separate situation of wealth, success, and everything that we needed going on going into this new century, right? We had all that, everything. Okay. Birth of a Nation is when they attempted to unhinge that. That's when after Birth of a Nation with Woodrow Wilson, that's when they changed all the historical writings and rewrote history with Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson had the viewing of Birth of a Nation in his office at the White House. And that's what actually set forth most of the burning of the Negro, of the indigenous cities and towns, y'all, was Birth of a Nation. It's what actually started the KKK development and the whole destruction of one black town and city after another. They ran this thing over and over for over years, 2 years. They ran it in town. We had special trains, special extra viewings of this movie to get people all worked up and to destroy nations. This is really, first famous anyway. But the thing about it is, there really isn't much as far as European and work in film prior to Birth of a Nation. Whereas we have bunches. We have like a lot. We have The Fool and His Money. Did I already play that? I don't think did I think yeah, I did The Fool and His Money. I played that. There's also one called The Porter. Right? I didn't play that. I don't even know if I have the footage from The Porter. But there's one called The Railroad Porter. I do have the image of it. They don't have the movie. That's the Railroad Porter. Look at that. That looks classy. 1912. That's why they were mad. Look at that. Look at that, and then look at what they had to do to try to counter the Railroad Porter. Now that meant we were not only acting in movies, but we was going to the movies. We was living our best lives, right? That's what that means. Integration was our doom. Integration just killed everything we had. But they spent years convincing us that we had nothing when we did have something. Just like they're trying to convince us that we were slaves when nothing makes sense to daggone. I mean, not slavery in the sense of what they try to make it be. That we all were chattel slave and everybody was a former slave, and they don't want to teach nothing about their slavery. What kind? It's all a bunch of crooked lies. They're a bunch of criminals. Birth of a Nation. Is that the same gang movie I was showing before? I think so. Oh, and here's another one. This one's supposed to be I don't have a footage of this. The Wooing and Wedding of a Coon. Disclaimer, that's just the name of the movie. I'm sorry, that's the name of it. The Wooing and Wedding of a Coon. So that was another one. I think some places I saw it was 1904. This one is this other places on the internet will say it's 1907. But see how early on we had quality movies? Why? Because there was an audience for it. Why? Because we had the wealth for it. Why? Because we had hospitals. We had daggone businesses. We had daggone Wall Streets. We had land. We had land. We lost all that. We let all that go, trying to daggone get with them, trying to be with them, trying to follow after them when they was really following after us, and they still following after us. But if we don't know what we have, if we don't value ourselves, how are you expected to win? How are you expected to actually, be able to thrive if you think everything you got ain't worth nothing? Because why? Because somebody told you that? Because somebody said, but what we got is nothing. We believed it. And we ended up actually not having anything. In addition, we got another problem. We got all the immigrants coming in to try to take what little bit we do have left, because they don't even know we used to have it all going on. They don't even know we had a whole film industry of our own going back to the 1900s. They don't know we had hundreds of hospitals. They're not being taught that in school, just like we're not being taught that in school. They don't know that we had nurses that way rivaled and predated Florence Nightingale, because they worship what they're taught, just like we are taught that these pale faces are everything. They have everything. They did everything. They found it. They're discoverers. Man, come on. Just like my grandson was doing his work during COVID, and I was like, they were learning adjectives. Founder, discoverer, inventor. I was like, and this attributed to his historical, what? They're brainwashing our children into using these adjectives on these criminals. I think 2025 is the day we stand up and say, stop it, no more. You don't get to label us, and you don't get to use these adjectives on yourselves. And you don't get to talk about us in slavery unless you're going to give yourself equal time on the subject, because you're slaves. Give yourself the equal time as the slaves, because that's what you are. It's disgusting that they do that. It's disgusting that they play at this way. They playing at being, oh, we're the brightest, we're the best. And we're falling for it. Because why? Because we go to school and we trust the educators. We trust the educators. It's a shame. It's a shame. But if you look at this, let's check this bill. Share this. I don't have it.
Any useful meaning anywhere else. What is a Negro?
There it is.
The task of people of African descent, whether in the United States or in Africa or elsewhere, is to get rid of this slave named Negro.
This curious word Negro was seldom or never used in Africa itself. And this word has no meaning, or no worthwhile meaning at all, in Africa. I would doubt myself if it has any useful meaning anywhere else.
What is a Negro? A simple question, but the answer is not so simple.
So that's what it is. We didn't even know what we were going into the 1960s. We didn't know. So they gave us the answer, right? They had those people saying, Negro, get rid of it, get rid of it. They're getting paid to tell us that Negro was bullcrap and that we need to just be the Africans that we are. Negro has no meaning in Africa. Then why did they ever use it here? If we were always African, why did they even ever call us Negro ever? If that's what we were, we would have always been called that from inception. We have been said, this is the Congo lady, or this is a lady from Africa, or this is a lady from wherever we came from. This is the Ashanti woman. They would have never. Why would they make up a new term for somebody if that's what we are? They make up a new term because we were a new people to these people. We were new to them, and therefore we had a new term. We didn't know what we were, and we didn't know what we had. And we let it all go because we allowed someone else to say who we are. Right here, right now, we need to make a concerted effort to get rid of this African American that's being retroactively applied to our ancestors and to our historical people like Frederick Douglass and all these other people. Rebecca Crumbler, she's not an African American. Frederick Douglass is not an African American. It is erasure, and it is ethnocide, genocide. We need to stop this. Stop it. They're not allowed. Well, who gives them the authority or any other Negroes to daggone even make that decision to call us African without evidence? If we were called Negro, that's what you need to call us historically. Don't make up new terminology and retrofit us with that. That is, and then you're gonna tell me if I feel like a man, call me Lisa the man. People, I could sue you for not calling me a man if I want to be a man. Yet you got the right to go ahead and call me and mine something that we're not racially? Really? You think so? You think that is not oppressive and a human rights violation? Because it is a human rights violation. We have the right to our culture, heritage, and nationality. And you do not call me to be another nation that I'm not without the proof. When you go ahead and investigate, if you ask, if you research or whatever, and you look for the proof of out of Africa stuff, right? And everything that people want to throw at you for Africa is something that was manufactured after 1900. When you go to research out of Africa sources that are in the 1600s, you will find none. You won't find any. There are no primary sources for out of Africa or African origin in the 1600s. It is hate speech. African American is hate speech. They don't get to change the identities of us or our ancestors. They don't get to retrofit, and also they don't get to say that we were slaves, previously a slave, or recently freed slave. Why don't they call themselves? Benjamin Franklin was a damn runaway slave. Why don't they talk about that? Why don't they talk about all the presidents that were slaves, formerly slaves? Why don't they talk about all the so-called founding fathers that were slaves? But yet they're going to talk about, oh, everybody's a former slave. They can't write about us without adding former slave to the sentences. We got to stop this hate. We got to stop. See, they are so desperate that we don't know who we are and reattach ourselves to our identity in our land, that they are stopping at nothing. But guess what? It's too late to go ahead and do these desperate measures. Yeah, some of us ain't gonna get it. They're gonna want to still keep on being FBA slave attached at the hip to slavery people. They're gonna want to still be in their oppression. They don't want to acknowledge all the people that actually were oppressed and were enslaved, that were of a different complexion. They don't want to acknowledge that, right? They don't want to acknowledge that, all the white folks that was enslaved. No, they don't want that, because see, that is getting in the middle of their oppression, and they really want their oppression intact. They want that oppression. They thrive off that oppression. They think they're gonna win off of the oppression. That's what they actually think. I didn't mean to show that. Sorry, y'all. Let me remove that. But yeah, so they think they're gonna win. But the reality is they just don't want people to acknowledge their true identity, because then everybody's gonna go around claiming their land and saying, look, let me tell you, you don't have authority here, and you can't, do these things and put our people in jail willy-nilly like you want to, and you can't treat us like trash, and we're not the bottom of the heap anymore. And maybe you need to pay us some taxes right now. Maybe you need to pay us back the money that you the rent. Maybe you need to pay rent. That's why there's a problem with us acknowledging who we really are. Everybody's upset about it because all these invaders are going to lose. They're all going to lose. But that's okay. So this is my point. So, I mean, I want you to, the point of this was just a little impression I got from just seeing a video clip when I was just going through YouTube, and I was like, dang, that's a good looking movie. What year was it? 1912? What the heck were we doing making black movies and Negro movies? Making Negro movies, indigenous movies in 1912. Well, if that's what we were doing in 1912, what was the Europeans doing? Not much. From what I can tell, they have less films of any substance in the early 1900s, less than what we have. Why do we have more? Why do we have more and better films? What was going on? And then when you add up the number of universities, you're like, wait a minute, how come we had 15, they had 24 by 1866? And also what you got to realize is that did not preclude the fact that some of us was going to those other universities. That don't tell, they wanted you to think, oh, you was a slave and you couldn't. No, we was going to their universities as well. We were being trained by and we were in their universities as well. Don't let them think don't let them give you the impression that you were nowhere to be found. This new concocted racial story, it was just done by Woodrow Wilson. That was we have a lot of retrofitted lies. See, they learned from Woodrow. Woodrow retrofitted lies when he talked about the past and slavery and the Civil War. He taught all those lies. retrofitted it so we thought, oh my God, we came from slavery. Oh my God, we didn't have nothing. Oh, we couldn't read, we couldn't write, we weren't allowed to, we go to jail. All that stuff is retrofitted. Just like right now, they're retrofitting African American. See, they use the same mechanisms. They're making everything African American, even our ancestors. And they're retrofitting also slavery. Everybody was a former slave. They're doing that in our modern today, right now as we speak. They're doing all this stuff, and they're inserting Africa into the narrative here, where they got Wakanda in the damn Williamsburg, Virginia exhibit. Wakanda. They trying to act like people was eating corn in Africa at the same time they was growing corn here. All kinds of lies. Retrofitting lies into the current day, right now. When we don't protest, we consent. You gotta protest. You gotta complain. If we don't complain in 2025, we missing. 2025 is when we check them. We don't let them go unchecked. They can get notice. They need to have notice, and they need to have more than notice. Lawsuits need to be filed against these people. Our rights are important. And as the first indigenous and only true indigenous people, we have to protect our rights, and we always have. We always have stood up for ourselves. We always have done it legally, legitimately, and we've always been a people that have gone and legislated for what we need to have. We've always done that. We need to go ahead and fight the fight legally and justly, and we will win, because it's our time to win. No one, that's right, TZ, no one has a right to tell our story but us. No, they don't get to say anything about us anymore. That's what 2025 is about. You don't get to say anything about us ever again. How about that? You don't get to say anything talking about what my ancestors were, or what we did, or what we had. And you know what? They're gone. They actually have written now that our Black English, so-called whatever they want to call it, AA, something they call it AA. They got an initial, African American English or something. It's from Africa. Yeah, they've studied it, and it's African linguistics. What? The way we talk ain't nothing like no Africans, and they don't talk nothing like us. They try to, and they make a point of it. They practice it. They work at it hard, but no. That's what they have a whole system of education talking about our language. Yeah, AAVE. What does that stand for, Claude? I don't know what that is. That's ridiculous. It's the African American, what? VE. What's the VE? Let us know, Claude. Because that doesn't make any sense. You want to talk about it? Because I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't understand. They're coming up with new stuff. Oh no, they're messing up my. I gotta have to move this. Can I move this? Oh, hold on, y'all. Okay. How in the world is it? Vernacular English? Wow. Isn't that something? Vernacular English. Well, yeah. So, me and my classmates were talking about this yesterday. We didn't know we were researching about our families in this land. We shared. Spent the whole day talking about this. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. They need to, the acronyms. Yeah, FBA and ADOS. I mean, these people are well paid to keep this ADOS, FBA going. You know, the people that are on social media, the people that are on the internet. Do you know that it's gotten so bad that even AI will bring up a YouTube from some weirdo FBA person talking about Pan-African out of Africa stuff as if that's a fact. Some weird child is like talking about FBA and we're all Africans, and anybody who's trying to say that they're not is ridiculous. What that is your that is your researched information. That's the data you're bringing forward as a artificial intelligence, a video from a child that is a FBA person who I've never seen, but obviously a paid FBAer, an agent. So that's what they're doing. These people are paid to spread this misinformation, to keep us divided and confused. Right. All it does is create more confusion. You're right, TZ. That's exactly what they're doing on purpose. Well, you belong to a tribe. You just have to find your people. Everybody belongs to a nation or somewhere. Everybody belongs somewhere. Even these people that have invaded us belong somewhere. They don't belong here, but they belong somewhere. And you belong somewhere. Yes, it is time. It's time for everybody to get to find their tribe. To find their people. And I'm gonna be doing a course. I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna do a Zoom or Discord or something, and it's gonna be to help everybody locate, get from their genealogy to their nation. Right? It's gonna be that jump from genealogy to finding your people, and so I'm gonna do a Discord on that, because we need to or something, because we really need that. We really need to get that done. And it's one thing, a lot of people are Acamac, so that's one thing. And I definitely I just did an introduction to being Acamac class today. And George, I forgot. You don't really reach out to me, but had I had your contact, I would have included you in the class. It was today from like 12:30 to like 3:30. We went long. But I'll be doing other classes. But yeah, for the Acamac, it covers a whole lot of people. But the other thing is, if you don't know your nation and you don't know if you're Acamac or what have you, it's that getting over the hump. And now a lot of the information that was on Ancestry is being scrambled and hidden, and so it's a little bit harder, but the information's still out there. They cannot totally obscure the information from us. They cannot do that. That is a universal law. Like, they can't do that. So the answers that you need are out there. You may have to dig a little harder, but they're out there. What'd you say, TZ? The names of our people are the names of the towns across the nation. Go to the courthouses, Library of Congress. That's right. And your ancestors that are there in the 90s, if they're that are there in their 90s, are still alive. Yeah. If you have ancestors that are older, definitely speak to your auntie and the neighbors, the people that lived in the communities where your people are from, the old people. Out in the yard, or out in the supermarket or whatever, you might find them. You know what is also a nice thing to do is just visit a nursing home and some of your towns and communities. A lot of these people don't get visitors, and they know a lot of history or a lot of information. Shoot, they might even be your kinfolk. They could use a visit, and they have a lot of them have a lot of information. They dying for somebody to talk to. What else I got here? Oh, a lot of people talking. Okay. Okay, awesome. Well, definitely, I'll be putting the information out. Indians. Let's see. We were called Indians in the blog books. Yeah, I think hopefully the most of the people in this room know that about them, know that much about. They know that we were reclassified, and Virginia. Yeah, TZ. I think people. Yeah, I think they know it. They know that here. This is a. I think the people that are in my thing are kind of knowledgeable. We're no kind of know who our people are. You're probably Accomack if you're in Virginia, North Carolina. You know. Let me see. My guys her Indian. Your classmates asked me, and the amount of information we share together about history and fairy and the usage of the legalese terms amazing. I'm glad because now if it's becoming a conversation like in more places out there in the world, then that's great. The more this gets out there and the more that we're having conversations out there in the world, that's the better, because that's what we need to be. This needs to be something that is knowledge, and it needs to be discussed and shared. And like I said, so this is the thing. Yeah, I want to make sure. Oh, okay. Well, you're Accomack if you're Chickahominy. If you're Powhatan, then that's Accomack, because the Powhatans or Powhatans that is Accomack. And Chief Powhatan is an Accomack. And Chief Powhatan is not the progenitor of the Powhatans, it's the Accomack. So if you're a Powhatan, then you're Accomack. That's what that is. Because it was so crazy, because I always was confused, like, how come we didn't have to, give tribute to the Accomack? Because we were to the Powhatans, because we were the Powhatans. That's why we didn't give tribute to the Powhatans. We were the ones getting the tribute. It's crazy how they hide stuff. But yeah, so since now I have announced that we are in full knowledge of the fact that the Accomack or the Powhatan are the Powhatan Confederacy. We are the progenitors, the founders of the Powhatan Confederacy. That now we've opened our doors to people that are on the outside of being, in the main Accomack nation. Those that are on the periphery that are whatever, not away, but not away, Chickahominy, but not Chickahominy, but you are part of the Powhatan Confederacy. You are also included as Accomack under the Accomack umbrella, and therefore are given the ability to enroll. So that's why I had an introduction to Accomack class today by invitation only. That's typical of the Indians, mulatto or colored or Negro. You guys, thank you. All right, so if anybody has any kind of comments or stuff or wants to come up, it's been a great chat. I enjoyed having you all. Y'all are really wonderful. And this is what I want for you. I want all the best, because this is the thing. We need to have our rights. We need to be able to self-protect legally. We need to be protected from these courts and these criminals out here. We also need to be able to have our land back and our resources back. And we need to be able to have a future of prosperity and abundance. That's the way our country was when they arrived here. And that's the way we're going to keep it. Okay. And that's the way we're going to leave it for our descendants. So happy 2025. It's the year to win. It's the year to thrive. You guys, thank you so much. And ana, that means goodbye.